If there's one thing I've learned, it's that men waste years chasing women who were never supposed to be caught in the first place. You put your time, your money, your attention into this endless pursuit, like some obedient dog running after a ball she didn't even throw. And the brutal truth? She doesn't want the guy who bends over backward. She doesn't want the guy who calls 3 times in a row. She doesn't want the guy who constantly explains himself, apologizes for existing, or proves he's different from other guys. That man becomes invisible, even when he's standing right in front of her. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to flip the entire script, to make her chase you without begging, without games, and without ever giving up your power again. The first thing you need to understand is that attraction isn't fair. It doesn't reward kindness the way your mother told you it would. It rewards tension. It rewards mystery. It rewards the man who doesn't collapse into her approval like a house of cards at the first gust of wind. Imagine walking into a room where 2 men are talking to her. The first is hanging on her every word, nodding too much, laughing too quickly, desperate to fill any silence. The second listens, pauses, and then drifts his eyes elsewhere, as if he's measuring the whole world and she just happens to be a piece of it. Who do you think burns hotter in her mind when she lays down at night? It's not the eager puppy, it's the man who leaves her guessing. You've been told to just be yourself. Sounds nice, feels safe, but here's what just be yourself usually means. Be soft, be predictable, be instantly available. What it really translates to is make her comfortable enough to never think of you sexually. Women don't chase comfort, they chase uncertainty wrapped in strength. They crave the internal tension of wondering, does he want me or is he perfectly fine walking away? And if you can't project that polarity, you're just her friend, her therapist, or her background noise. I still remember a night years ago in a downtown bar. She was stunning. Long hair, black dress, the type of presence that made men fumble their drinks. Every guy around her was orbiting like moths around a flame. I caught her eye once, gave a half smile, then turned back to my whiskey. She leaned closer, trying to join my conversation with someone else. Minutes later, she asked my name. The irony was sharp. Every man in that room had been performing tricks like circus animals, and the one she chased was the only man who refused to juggle. That's not magic, that's psychology. The mistake men make is believing access equals value. You think that by giving her more of you, more attention, more compliments, more texts, you increase your odds. But the more she can predict you, the less she feels the spark. You've become her certainty, and certainty kills attraction. She doesn't fantasize about the guy who texts "good morning" every single day. She fantasizes about the one who leaves her staring at her phone, wondering what he's thinking, what he's doing, and who else has his attention. And here's the exercise you need to try. Next time you feel the urge to flood her with validation, stop. Sit in the discomfort of silence. Let her wonder. You'll feel your skin crawl, your chest tighten, because you're addicted to reassurance, her reassurance. But when you resist, when you let her brain do the chasing, something flips. Suddenly, she's checking if you're pulling away. Suddenly, she's sending the first message. Suddenly, she's dressing sharper when she sees you. It's not cruelty, it's contrast. She feels the value of your presence only when you show her the possibility of your absence. Think about it like fire. A flame only survives because oxygen feeds it. Too much smothering and the flame dies. Too little and it never catches. The art is in balance. You give her just enough warmth to crave more, just enough distance to keep her moving toward you. And every time she moves toward you, she invests. That investment rewires her brain. Now she's chasing. Now she's convincing herself you matter because she's the one putting effort in. Humans value what they fight to keep, not what they're handed for free. There's a darker truth beneath this, one that most men refuse to face. Women test men constantly, not out of malice, but out of instinct. She'll cancel plans last minute. She'll flirt with someone else in front of you. She'll ignore your text for a day. Every one of those is her subconscious pulling a lever to see, will you fold? Will you lose your frame? Will you show her you're just another desperate man in disguise? Most men fail these tests. They get angry, they beg, they over-explain. But the man she chases never breaks his frame. He sees the test for what it is and doesn't even flinch. He doesn't explain why he's valuable, he just is. Here's the challenge. Next time she runs a test, don't react. If she cancels, smile and go enjoy your own night. If she flirts with someone else, shake his hand and move on with your own energy intact. If she ignores your text, let it breathe while you live your life. She'll notice. She'll feel that gut punch realization. You are not under her control, but she's starting to slip under yours. That's when the dynamic flips. That's when the hunter becomes the hunted. The truth is, you're not making her chase you by being cruel or manipulative. You're simply removing yourself from the predictable role she's seen 100 times before. You're introducing scarcity into a world where men flood her with abundance. And in that scarcity, her desire grows sharper, her imagination runs wilder, and her respect hardens into something unshakable. She may not admit it, but she's wired to feel it. The man who can walk away is the man she can't stop walking toward.
Step 1 is mindset, and if you don't nail this, nothing else matters. You need to stop believing that her attention is the prize. It isn't. The prize is you, your time, your energy, your presence. Every second she spends in your orbit is something she should earn. That might sound arrogant to you right now, but it's only arrogant if you don't back it up with reality. If your life is empty, if your purpose is foggy, if you've got nothing going on, then yes, you become the guy pretending to be valuable. But when you're genuinely building, when your life has weight and momentum, then she feels the difference. She isn't chasing just to win you. She's chasing to be part of the world you're already creating without her. Think of a man standing still and waving at her to come closer. That's what most guys do. They stand there, arms open, waiting to be chosen. Now think of a man already walking, already moving, already heading somewhere powerful. She has to jog to keep up. She has to adjust to his pace. That's the man who gets chased, not because he's tricking her, but because she senses she'll miss out on something bigger if she doesn't. But here's the brutal flip side. The moment you pause your mission for her, you've lost. The second you start rearranging your schedule, your purpose, your friends, your workouts, your sleep, all to orbit around her, she feels it. She might smile, she might say thank you, but inside, she feels the drop in tension. The mystery fades. You've stopped being the man she was drawn to and turned into another man orbiting her gravity. Picture this scenario. You're at dinner. She mentions another guy texting her, testing your reaction. Inside, your blood wants to boil. The weak man caves, blurts out, "Who is he? Do you like him? Am I not enough?" And right there, she knows you've given her the frame. The stronger man? He takes a sip of his drink, smirks, and says, he'll have fun trying. That one line cuts through the test like a blade. You don't chase, you don't argue, you don't collapse. And the fire in her stomach surges because she can't move you. Every chase runs on the same fuel, uncertainty. But not the weak, insecure uncertainty of, will he like me if I do this? The powerful uncertainty of, does he already know he can walk away? You hold your center so firmly that even when she tries to tug it out of you, she ends up pulled in deeper herself. Now let's expose one of the biggest myths out there. Women want the nice guy. That's a lie, dressed up in polite language. What they really want is a man who can be nice, but doesn't need to be. They want the option, not the prison sentence. A man who's endlessly nice becomes predictable, and predictable becomes boring. The man who can be warm, teasing, generous, and then in the next moment detached, focused, and untouchable, that's the man who triggers the chase instinct, because she never fully locks him down, and humans always chase what feels just out of reach. You see it in every corner of life. The expensive car is locked behind a price tag you can't quite touch, so you wanted more. The limited edition shoes drop and sell out instantly, so now you crave them twice as bad. Scarcity amplifies value. Why would women be any different? If you're on call like a customer service hotline, you've killed your own scarcity. If she knows she can have you anytime, she stops needing you anytime. But the man who's selective, who disappears to build, who isn't always available, that's the man she replays in her head when she's alone at night. Here's what's wild. When she starts chasing, she won't even realize it at first. She'll start dressing sharper around you. She'll laugh harder at your jokes. She'll drop hints, subtle invites, soft signals. And if you keep your frame, if you don't suddenly flood her with validation, that hunger grows. The more effort she invests, the more her brain rewires itself to see you as rare. And when a woman labels a man as rare, that label sticks. But don't misunderstand this. Making her chase isn't about cruelty. It's not about coldness. It's about polarity. You're not pushing her away. You're pulling her in by refusing to collapse. You're giving her the gift of pursuit, the fire that burns in every woman who's honest with herself, the desire to earn a man she respects. And when she earns you, she never forgets it. The challenge for you is to get comfortable with the silence, the distance, the moments where she hasn't texted back yet, the minutes when she tests your frame. Every fiber in your body will want to reach out, to explain, to reassure. That's your weakness begging to be fed. If you starve it, if you let the discomfort sit in your chest without reacting, you become dangerous. Not dangerous in a cruel way. Dangerous in a way that she feels. Dangerous because you are not a man she can control with the snap of her fingers. Dangerous because you're the man who could walk away at any moment, yet chooses not to. And nothing is more addictive to a woman than a man who chooses her while never needing her.
Imagine this. She's used to every man bending around her moods, her demands, her little storms. She raises her voice, they back down. She threatens to leave. They beg. She withholds affection. They shower her with more. This is her reality, control by default. Then she collides with you. And suddenly the formula doesn't work. She throws the tantrum, and you don't budge. She threatens to leave, and you calmly open the door. She pulls back, and instead of chasing, you lean back further. Her brain scrambles because you've broken the script she's been writing since she was a teenager. And when the script breaks, the obsession begins. That obsession doesn't come from cruelty, it comes from strength. Women chase the man who refuses to be tamed, the man who lives in alignment with himself so deeply that her emotions can't sway him. You don't need to punish her. You don't need to play cartoonish games. You simply need to hold the line of who you are. When she realizes she can't drag you into her frame, she feels something she rarely feels in today's world: respect. And respect is the soil where real attraction grows wild. But let's pull apart another myth that's been poisoning men for decades. If you love her hard enough, she'll never leave. Love is not glue. In fact, love without polarity is suffocation. When you love her in that desperate, over-giving way, she doesn't feel bound to you, she feels the urge to escape you. Because deep down, she knows love isn't supposed to feel like a leash. Women don't chase men who love them too much. They chase men who love themselves enough to never be enslaved. Picture a lion in the wild. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't follow around the lioness whimpering for affection. He roams. He hunts. He rules his territory. And because of that, the lioness follows him. She chooses him, not because he grovels, but because his very presence commands her instinct. Now imagine that same lion, neutered, pacing behind her, waiting for scraps. That's what most men have become: tame house cats, pretending to roar. The dark psychology of making her chase you is recognizing that human nature isn't politically correct.
It's not about equality in attraction, it's about polarity. Masculine and feminine energy collide in tension. The more you lean into your masculine center, calm, grounded, directional, the more she leans into her feminine flow, emotional, reactive, chasing. Kill that polarity and you kill the chase. Let me give you a story. A man I once knew, let's call him David, was a textbook nice guy. Bought flowers weekly, texted paragraphs every morning, rearranged his life around his girlfriend's whims. One night, she left him. Left him for a man who barely returned her texts, who sometimes canceled plans, who was building his career and had no time for games. David couldn't understand it. I treated her like a queen, he said. I gave her everything. Exactly. He gave her everything, so she gave him nothing. The other man made her chase, not through cruelty, but through direction. He had a vision larger than her, and she wanted to be pulled into it. That's the paradox. The more you pour yourself into her, the less she pours into you. The less you pour into her, the more she finds ways to pour into you. Not because women are cruel, but because their biology is wired to chase the man who has options, who holds the frame, who isn't conquered by the promise of intimacy. So here's your challenge. Start living as though her validation is irrelevant. Don't just say it, live it. Build your body, build your finances, build your circle of brothers who sharpen you. Build a mission so heavy it keeps you awake at night. Then when she enters your orbit, she'll feel that gravity. She'll sense that you're already moving, already climbing, already becoming. And instead of asking, will he pick me? She'll whisper to herself, how do I keep up with him? That's the chase. That's the dynamic shift most men never taste because they're too afraid to let go of control long enough to claim real power. And the raw truth, you have to be willing to lose her. You have to stand in the storm of silence, in the test of distance, in the threat of rejection, and never bend your spine. Because the man who cannot walk away is the man who will always be walked over. And the man who can walk away without hesitation is the man she will chase until she's out of breath.
Here's where it gets even darker. You think the chase is about strategy, about saying the right lines or pulling the right moves. It isn't. It's about psychology. Hers, yes, but also yours. Because if you don't confront your own neediness, she'll sniff it out like blood in the water. Women are predators of certainty. They can sense the tiniest crack in your frame. You say, I don't care if she texts back, but your eyes keep darting at your phone every 5 minutes. You say, I've got options, but you're secretly terrified of losing the only woman who's ever paid you attention. That contradiction leaks out of your pores. She feels it before you've said a word. And once she senses weakness, the chase dies. So the psychology of making her chase you starts in the mirror. Can you sit in your own skin without her? Can you enjoy your night without checking if she's watching? Can you stand tall knowing she might walk away tomorrow? If you can, you project something most men never do. True indifference. Not fake indifference, not scripted aloofness. Real, bone-deep indifference that comes from living a life so rich you don't need her to complete it. And that's the drug she can't resist, because when you don't need her, she needs you. This is why women test boundaries. They're not testing for fun, they're testing for truth. They want to know if your calm is real or staged, if your strength holds when pressure rises. Every canceled plan, every ignored text, every spike of drama, that's her subconscious saying, show me if you're the real thing. And the man who passes isn't the one who argues or explains, it's the one who doesn't flinch, the one who leans back in his chair, sips his drink, and lets the storm pass without losing his center. That man is rare, that man is valuable, that man is chaste. Now there's a brutal honesty here. Most men can't stomach the silence. They'd rather drown in over-texting, over-explaining, over-chasing than sit in the discomfort of her pulling away. And that's why most men lose before the game even begins. Because the chase requires tension. It requires the risk of loss. And weak men would rather have her halfway, lukewarm, half-invested, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, than risk losing her entirely by standing tall. But strong men know that halfway love isn't love at all. They'd rather risk walking alone than live in her shadow.
That willingness to lose is the seed of the chase. Think of the poker table. The man who plays not to lose always folds under pressure. The man who plays to win scares the entire room. She feels the same energy in you. If you're terrified of losing her, you fold at every raise, every bluff, every test. But if you're grounded enough to push your chips in and walk away smiling whether she stays or goes, she feels it in her bones. And that's when she stops testing and starts chasing. I knew a guy once, let's call him Marcus. He had this woman who was fiery, unpredictable, always trying to yank his emotions out of him. She'd storm off, slam doors, threaten to leave. Most men would have panicked. Marcus didn't. He'd pour a drink, throw on music, and keep doing his thing. Hours later, she'd come back calmer, softer, curled up in his lap. Why? Because he never left his frame. Because his value wasn't built on her moods. It was built on himself. That's the psychology women can't resist. It's not dominance in the cartoonish sense. It's dominance over yourself. And when you dominate yourself, she feels safe enough to chase you. Here's the final layer of this dark psychology. Paradox. The more you try to make her chase, the less she will. The more you release the need for her to chase, the more she does. Because chasing isn't about her, it's about you. It's about who you are when she's watching, and more importantly, when she isn't. If you're the man who needs her, she'll always walk ahead of you. If you're the man who doesn't, she'll always run to catch up. And the raw truth, the one most men don't want to hear, is this. You don't make her chase you by focusing on her. You make her chase you by becoming the man she can't stop chasing, whether she wants to or not. The man with options, the man with purpose, the man who respects himself so deeply that losing her isn't even a loss. You don't get her back by waiting. You get her back by never needing her again.